Now, our final speaker, Robert Benson. I think we have already heard about him. Ben spoke about him. I spoke about him. He has a lot of experiences and insights to share. I was very hesitant when I was approaching Robert for this conference because he made a post in our group saying that after 44 years, I am retiring. And I was like, I think if I am in a sector for 44 years, I would be, I would like to be left alone. But I really felt that the experience and the expertise he has would be a gold mine to all the freshers and new male educators. So let me welcome Ralph.
Or Robert.
Sorry. Oh
Thanks,
my
Ramesh.
goodness. Sorry, Robert. Sorry.
That's
Apologies.
okay. You've had a very busy time. That's fine. I'll speak quickly because I can see that we're running out of time, and my poor dog, who is sitting beside me, needs to go out and do a wee. Okay, and he's starting to look a bit desperate. So first, I'd like to acknowledge that I'm joining you from the land of the Gadigal people and pay my respects to elders past and present, as well as any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people that are in attendance at our conference this afternoon. And I also want to acknowledge, as Sam Page did earlier this morning, the ongoing importance of First Nations men in the lives of children. As Ramesh says, I've just retired earlier this year after 44 years of teaching. And just to follow on something that Anthony said before, I suppose what I want to talk about very briefly is the people who have joined me in my boat after the years to create that beautiful wake that I have left behind. Okay, so I just want to talk about that a little bit. Now, Martin, unlike you, I had my first role model as an educator role model when I first started primary school. I went to a small primary school in North Queensland, and I had the same male teacher from year 1 to year 7. So it didn't come across my mind that you could actually have female teachers for the first, whatever, 7 years of my education. Added to that, my dad was a single parent. I was youngest of 5, so he brought a lot of us up by himself. So right from the beginning, I saw a strong male nurturer in my life who was joined by a male educator for my first 7 years of primary school. I went to Teachers College in North Queensland, and I trained to be a primary school teacher. And in the last year of my study, they offered this an elective called early childhood, and I thought, oh, I'll give it a try. I'd had some really bad experiences on my pracs. In the 70s, a lot of the ways that children were treated in primary school, it wasn't nice, and a lot of it came from male teachers. And so as I said, my experiences hadn't been great. And I found early childhood, and I did my first prac at a little
Sorry, Rob, I think you have muted yourself by accident.
I did my first prac at a little preschool called Aitkenvale Preschool in Townsville, if anybody knows Townsville. And I spent that time with the most amazing teacher who said to me after the first couple of days, "You're going to be a great teacher, and I'm going to start your career off for you." And so I really, really appreciate that person who saw the potential in me. Oh, sorry, my things keep disappearing. Saw the potential in me and really nurtured me and helped me find my home in early childhood. So a few of the people that came into my boat during my life, Anthony mentioned before, Janet Robertson. She and Wendy Shepherd from the Mia Mia Child Studies Centre at Macquarie University were the ones that introduced me to Reggio Emilia first. They were some of the first Australians to go over to Reggio Emilia, and they came back and they spent a long time thinking about how can we interpret the philosophy from this town in Italy to our Australian context. And one of the main things that I took from the work that they were doing was creating a sense of beauty for children. And I've really taken that on through my career. And every centre that I've been to, I've left it, in my opinion, more beautiful than when I got there. Okay, and by beauty I mean, you know, as an example, a carefully curated block area full of a range of blocks, a range of resources that provides the opportunity to create amazing things, beautifully decorated things and beautifully patterned things. So, or a garden full of plants that every month of the year offers the children something new from a sensory point of view. Sorry, I've lost my bit. Anthony, I met very early in his career, Anthony Saman, who talked wonderfully before, and he got me thinking about the plight of early childhood men. And we talked a lot about what was happening in those days. And I suppose one of the questions I'd like to ask him is, how does he think things have changed? And Martin, you too, whether we won't answer that now, but how have things changed in the last 30 years, I suppose, for men? And I really don't think there's been much of a change. Anyway, so that was Anthony in my life. He got me thinking about the men and activism. Another person that came into my boat quite a lot was my friend Deb Mann. So Deb's a Waka Waka woman, an educator and speaker, and she's been a great friend of mine for 35 years. She's taught me to be humble and to listen, when to talk and when not to talk, what's my business and what's not my business, and also to do my research and base my practice on sound knowledge. Okay. My friend, Dr. Robin Dolby, who taught me about circular security and place-based philosophy. She taught me to stop and be still and just to be with children, to make myself available to them both physically and emotionally as they enter the setting in the morning and also through the day. She taught me to be predictable and to foster a sense of safety in the children. And she also taught me to find moments of joy with each child throughout the day. My colleagues in ESEEN, which is the Early Childhood Environment Education Group that doesn't exist anymore, they taught me about the importance of highlighting sustainability with the children. I was lucky enough to lead, I chaired that committee for several years. The beautiful Anne Pello, who's come in and out of my life over the years. The first contact I had with Anne Pello was her book, The Goodness of Rain. So if you haven't read it, have a look at it. And she started my exploration of the absolute importance of regularly immersing children in nature. I've been lucky enough to lead programs that have taken children both into local bushland and to beach settings. And Ralph, it's easy to take children to the beach, okay? The regulations are on our side and risk assessments aren't hard at all, okay? Earlier this year, all my dreams came true, because when Anne Pello was in Australia, she came to my centre for an evening, and she worked with us in highlighting some of the amazing things that we'd been doing at the centre around sustainability, around connecting children with nature, and encouraging children to be activists for nature. My interest in nature play has continued through my work with the New South Wales Early Years Nature Connections Group. We have, over the last 4 years, we've formed a committee that provides professional learning through training, conferences and gatherings. And like Wendy and Janet all those years ago with Reggio, we've been looking at nature play with an Australian context and with a First Nations context in Australia, which has been fantastic. Very quickly, so they've been some of those people that have been in the boat with me. And I feel very proud and honoured to have known them. My career has been about making connections with children and families and colleagues, and I absolutely believe that relationships are the key to us working as men in early childhood. My career has been about creating new challenges and directions for myself when I've started feeling a little bit stale. And like many of you, I've been through all of the crap that's involved with being a male working in early childhood. I've had, unsubstantiated allegations against me and mistrust from some parents. But I think a lot of that has been to do with them having not gotten to know me yet. And when people get to know you, they trust you, and those relationships happen. But look, for those people starting out in early childhood as males, it's a good career. Okay, yes, there's some stuff that we have to deal with, but there's strength in it. There's and through those relationships with through those relationships with others, as Anthony said this morning, it helps you make it. Okay, and my puppy's really getting tense now, so I'm going to finish. And thank you, Ramesh, for organising this, and thank you everybody for listening. And I look forward to, if anybody wants to ask any questions while we're having our little bit of panel thing later on, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Really appreciate you taking the time to share your stories and your journey. I know you need to take a quick break, so all good. Maybe we'll all take a quick 5 and then come back for the panel discussion. I apologize that we are running a bit late. We'll have around, after 10 minutes, maybe we'll have a 10-minute panel discussion. And then for networking, we'll sort of discuss and we'll schedule a virtual chat and chew with Adam. And at that time, we can do some more networking as well. Give me a thumbs up if you are all right with that. Awesome. All right, we'll take a quick 10-minute break, and then I'll hand over to David, who will be moderating the panel discussion. Martin, are you okay to